Better Built Toolboxes and Accessories presents
Hi everybody, I'm Pat Patterson and we're pleased that you've joined us this week for another Champions of Speed. Now I'm going to put you to work here for a second. Of the 1,000 or so oval tracks in the country, what percentage do you think are dirt tracks? 30%, maybe half, somebody might say 70%. With all the asphalt racing that's on television, you might be tempted to answer maybe 30%. But get ready for this. The answer is 72% of the tracks are dirt. A few shows back, we profiled the World of Outlaws champion, and this week we'll introduce you to the champion of the Have-A-Tampa Late Model Series. His name is Freddie Smith, and he'll tell us what it's like to go skating around a dirt oval at over 100 miles per hour. We're going to have some fun, so stay with us.
Champions of Speed, brought to you by Advance Auto Parts. The best part is our people.
Welcome back, everybody. The Have-A-Tampa Series brings together most of the very best late model dirt drivers for a 32-race schedule that crisscrosses the southern tier of states. All of the races are at least $10,000 to win, and this year's champion wasn't decided until the season-ending Have-A-Tampa shootout. Let's meet the 1996 champion, Freddie Smith. Freddie's been terrorizing dirt track competitors throughout the eastern half of the country since the Johnson administration. That's a lot of miles, but the memory is still vivid as to how it all began. Seems like whenever anybody starts a racing career, they don't really know they're starting a career. They're just going and having some fun. I don't think you ever would have dreamed of having a national championship or racing for 30 years back in Gaffney, South Carolina in 1967, would you?
No, not really, you know. We just, what had really come up is Daddy, he was in racing before I got there, you know, and so he worked for Howard and Moody, and so I just wanted to go racing on a racetrack like that, and I built the car, and he swore up and down he wasn't going to build a motor until I got the car done, and so when I got the car done, he's going to build the motor, so we took off down the Gatchin run.
That's some pretty fun times back then. Hallman,
yeah.
Moody, and of course all the stock car legacy that went with those guys, and your family being part of that kind of made sense for you to get involved with racing, didn't it?
Yeah, see, he had done all the head work for Howard and Moody and stuff, so he was pretty good on motors and stuff like that. So we went down the Gatchin, and I think I came from the rear up to third, and old boy lost the tire, and I hit the tire, and busted my radiator and stuff, so, you know, I remember all that.
Did you get a feeling after that night that you were definitely coming back next week to race again?
Well, it was fun. It was something different. We did win the race next week, as we did come back. So we didn't run very many shows that year because it was over half the year over when we started. So we won 8 shows that first year. And then we come back the next year and won, I think it was 38 or 48. I'm not really sure.
For 30 years now, Smith has lived his nickname, the Southern Gentleman. For most of his career, a national championship wasn't part of the deal. And even 1996 didn't appear to be the year that it would happen. Smith had parted company with his 1995 car owner and got a late start on 1996. You really didn't even have a lot of time to get ready for this season. You were kind of putting all of this together as the season drew near. That makes it tough to get started out of the box, doesn't it?
Well, when I met with Clayton, we didn't have anything really right on the race cars itself. He had a trailer and everything, and so he had a truck and all that. So we had to build 2 race cars and get our motors built in less than a month's time, and get all our tires, everything situated. So we was kind of in a rush thing, and I think that's what was wrong with us the first year, because we didn't get to check over things like we should have been checking over it. Clayton
is Clayton Christenberry, a Knoxville, Tennessee businessman and Freddie's car owner. What was it about him that most impressed you?
I guess, you know, with his status in racing and not being cocky about it. Just plain everyday, good, honest Southern gentleman, and that's what they call him, and that's what he is.
You just won the national championship. Does that surprise you in your first effort that you would create the nucleus to make all that work?
Yes, it surprises me that we did it, and at the same time, I knew that Freddie had the potential, and we got, I guess, lucky in the fact of some of the people that we got to come on board with us that matured at the same time that this thing happened, and they had good potential, and it just went together, and it worked.
He had to be a big part of why you did well this year, but what do you think makes him a good car owner?
Well, he's a good car owner because he knows what racing is. You don't win every race, and you don't finish all the races, you know, and he understands this. And for races we do run good, he's really tickled with it. And, you know, it just makes everybody feel so much better after the race, even if you didn't win it, that you can go to the next race and, you know, and do better.
I'm not dating myself here, but you were a legend when I was a pretty little kid here as far as getting the race car around the racetrack. But it's the first national championship you ever won, and that kind of surprised me when I looked at it. I thought, Freddie Smith, I mean, he's probably won 10 of these things, you know, over the years, but it's interesting, you never ran for a national championship. You always went where the big money races were, didn't you?
Yeah, we just, well, we'd start off, you know, with a point deal. And, you know, if we wasn't running the top two, you know, we'd just skip out of it and go where you can kind of make some more money at. And that was the name of the game then, is to making the money, is keeping everything going. But we'd never really run for a championship until I got with Clayton, and he kind of wanted to go for this thing, and we gave it a good shot. Started back out one time this year, but we held in there. And
was it fun? I mean, did you enjoy, as it came down to realizing that you had a good shot at beating Sir Scott Bloomquist for his knocking him out of a 3-in-a-row situation?
Well,
Did you have fun at it right towards the end?
I had fun all year, really. But Scott's so hard to outrun, you know. I mean, he's a tough competitor, and I mean, he's not the only one. But Scott is really tough. And, you know, it's just great to be running with them guys, you know, and having fun like we did.
You know, when it all starts working, you can tell. You get that feeling that, okay, we've gotten over our problems. At what point did that happen in the early part of the season?
Well, I'd say midway through the season, you know. Just like the first year, we did run good first year. I mean, we was in the top 3 or 4 cars, but we just had a little problem. But it was midway the season. We got everything under control, and I think everybody got settled down a whole lot more, you know, and got to, you know, knowing each other a lot better and trusting each other. And that was a big key of it.
Clint Dawes is the president of Dawes Better Built, the people who make Better Built toolboxes. And today, Clint, if you're going to win a major championship in the United States, man, you really got to have things go right for you, and you really got to have a team that works together. I know you're proud of your team.
We certainly are, Pat. We've got the champions at Dawes who help us make the finest toolboxes and accessories in the market today.
What is it about your toolbox that makes it the best in the world?
Well, Pat, you know, we've put a lot of thought into our toolboxes. We've got that solid one-piece construction, the wraparound underneath, all one piece of material. We've got the rolled seat channel edges. We've got stainless steel paddle latches with a automotive-style lock cylinder that really makes it a barrier to entry for someone who wants to get in it. We fully braced the lids, nice hemmed lids that give us that style and appeal that you want on that brand new shiny pickup truck. The lids work beautifully. They're engineered so that the shocks allow the lid to fall at the last second so that you got a real easy closure on that lid. And really, you don't have to slam that thing shut when you're out there, you know, working in the field.
You have a network that actually services everything all around the country.
We certainly do. We have wholesale distributors and dealers all over the country. We're a nationwide company. I mean, you can take our products anywhere for service. You can go in and buy components that are like the components that you've already bought to complete your Better Built look on your pickup truck. I mean, really, we're very proud of our distribution network out there.
All right, I'm not the greatest in the world when it comes to installing these things. Is it going to be difficult to install Better Built products?
Well, really, that's something we worked on a lot, Pat. Installation is something that we've engineered to make it very, very easy for the consumer. Our Grip Right's no-hole mounting attachment for our toolboxes It's a really easy way to mount your toolbox, and you don't drill any holes in your truck. Our Nerf bars and our running boards are custom designed so that you can get under there and mount your product in about 15 minutes.
All right, Clint, you've sold me. Where do I find my Better Built toolbox?
Well, Pat, you can get our boxes from retailers and distributors in all 50 states, plus Canada and Mexico.
And if all I've got's a telephone and I got to figure out where my nearest one is?
Well, you can certainly get us through 1-800-PHONE-T-BOX.
All right, 1-800-PHONE-T-BOX to find out where your nearest Better Built toolbox distributor is. And we've got a lot more of Champions of Speed coming your way next. Stick around. We'll be back with more. Freddie Smith had a pretty good 1996 season, considering that he really wasn't aiming at the Have a Tampa title when he started. Fans saw Fast Freddie on the weekends doing what he loves best, but last season he was also calling the shots at the team's shop. How much of what you accomplished this year was because of Freddie Smith's personal involvement away from the racetrack? In other words, you got a good crew, but I got a feeling you're a pretty meticulous guy when it comes to being ready to go to the racetrack. Do you feel like that involvement Monday through Wednesday before you ever loaded up on Thursday had a lot to do with why you did well this year?
Well, it did. We've never really had the power that we had this year to maybe stay in the shop and order all this stuff. And, you know, the guys have really been on their own until, you know, when I get off the telephone or talking to Clayton and them, you know, it's been a hard job for me, really, to keep everything coming in and keep everything under control.
Had you been recently in this kind of managerial position where you had to do the secretarial stuff and order? I mean, for the last 15 years, you haven't owned your own car. You've raced for other people. So was this tough being kind of an administrator, if you will, with the team this year? Yeah.
It was like, you know, years ago you didn't have it like you have it right now. You know, you didn't have the equipment you had right now. But, you know, we drove for another team for 5 years, and I had no idea that it would take this much to run the team and stuff. It's a lot of telephone calls, ordering stuff, and then you got to go out and check on everybody, and you know, it's just it's really a tough job.
When you've made your living behind the wheel and done very nicely, as Freddie has, you pick up a few tricks along the way, even if you can't always put them into words. What's the trick to going quick on dirt?
Well, it's really I don't know. It's just it comes in your blood, I guess. You know, we've ran it so much I couldn't tell you the trick of it. It's just a normal thing that comes to you.
Well, unlike asphalt racing, where you sail it down the front stretch as hard as you can, you know, just get the car set and you get back in it. It seems like being smooth in asphalt would mean more than being smooth on dirt, but that's really not true. You've got to be equally as smooth with the dirt car, don't you?
Yeah, well, you don't really turn them sideways like you used to. The more straighter you keep the car, the better the car's going to go around the corner. And, you know, it's the same way on asphalt, but we can kind of change our line a whole lot more than an asphalt car can and try to find the point that the car likes, in which asphalt, you know, you don't have that kind of change to do that.
Like it or not, he's one of the older statesmen on dirt, and that makes Freddie popular among fellow competitors for his knowledge. There's a whole lot of fresh, fuzzy faces that have come out in the last 10 years that want to be the next Freddie Smith. How much time do you spend talking to the competitors about improving their abilities, and when will people come to you and say, Freddie, I'm having a hard time getting around this corner, what should I do?
Yeah, a good bit, really. I mean, there was like 3 guys called me yesterday wanting to know about Dixie Speedway. And I've had a problem down there ever since I've been there, you know. And we just kind of tell them, you know, as best we can and try to form them in the right way.
The past 3 seasons, the road to the Have a Tampa crown went through Scott Bloomquist's backyard. The fellow Tennessean won more races than Freddie in 1996, but came up short for the first time in 3 years. You and Scott are really different from each other. Boy, it took a real genius to figure that out, didn't it? Here's Freddie, the established dirt track king, and here's young Bloomquist, who, you know, you could mistakenly think for Elvis's second cousin or something at times from the way he gets around the racetrack and the way he gets around the race car or out of the race car itself. How do you guys get along with each other? Do you get along well?
Well, you know, we used to talk to one another, but, you know, here lately we hadn't. It's not that I'm mad at him or he's mad at me, but he's just got his own little world, you know.
Right.
But it's hard to say, really, how it does happen like that.
I guess the better question is just how intense is the rivalry between the two guys?
Well, it's nothing to be tense about. I mean, Scott's a good racer, and I feel like that I can race with him, and we can race together and not involve ourselves in getting in trouble.
Coming up, the side of Freddie few people ever see. Freddie Smith's so laid back that sometimes you have to strain to hear what he's saying. He lets his actions speak louder than his words. But what about life away from the track? What's the one thing that you think maybe the fans don't know about you? What's the one thing about you that maybe nobody's ever really discovered? I mean, are you secretively a snow skier, or is there anything about Freddie Smith that you'd say that they would go, well, I bet they didn't know that about me?
Well, really, I don't know. We like to play golf sometimes, but we hadn't got to play golf in 2 years. But other than that, racing has been my life, you know, and I just love to go to it.
Heroes along the way for the last 30 years. Have you looked at other racers and said, I'd like to be able to do a little bit of what this guy does? You got some heroes over the years?
Well, I guess so, because I guess I growed up with my hero, you know, Dale Earnhardt. You know, his dad, and we raced together when we was all growing up. So Earnhardt is really my pick, you know, pick on that deal there. I just know him personal.
Mm-hmm. Well, obviously you knew from the get-go, after running a few races in Gaffney, South Carolina, that you wanted to be a race car driver. Did you ever think about being anything else?
Not really. Not really. I worked with heavy equipment for 15 years, and I just really jumped out of it and jumped right into the racing, you know, full time.
And your son's involved as well now with his own business, I guess?
Yeah, he's got his own business. He opened it up, and he's really done a good job with it. And he's been really snowed under ever since he's opened the door. He's never really got caught up the whole time.
I love hot dogs. You got to be at least, you know, glued into knowing where all the best track food is in the entire southeastern part of the U.S. Even though I'm sure you take a lot of your own food with you to the racetrack, who's got the best hot dog hamburger out there as far as racetracks go?
Well, I'll tell you what, this is going to surprise you. I don't eat at the racetrack.
You're right, that surprised me. After 30 years, that surprises me.
I normally don't eat.
Come on now, you don't once in a while go grab a hamburger or something. I mean, just got to eat something quick and...
I bet I hadn't eaten 5 hamburgers the whole time I've been driving or racing.
Is that right?
Yeah. We eat before we go, and we don't eat anything until after everything's over with. You know.
And then what do you like to have sitting back in the truck?
You know, Waffle House or anything like that. That's always what we've always done. I know my wife gets kind of mad about the Waffle House sometimes, but you know, it's the only thing that's open that's late.
there's a lot of great meals been served after midnight at the Waffle House. No question about it. You get a nervous stomach at the racetrack? Might that be part of? No,
not really.
Get on edge physically at all?
No. It seems like when I get to the racetrack, hunger's not there, you know. Right. And so I drank a lot of water or something like that, but as far as eat anything, no.
And look out, America, there may be another Racing Smith in the wings. In talking to younger drivers today, do you see yourself in anybody?
Well, I see myself in my son. I feel like he's really, the last couple of years, has really come on a whole lot stronger than what I thought he would be coming, you know, and he's done a good job. This year, he's really come along pretty good. So I feel like he's learned a lot more by building the cars and getting out racing and come back and see what he's missed on it.
Champions of Speed, brought to you by Advance Auto Parts. The best part is our people.
You know, as host of this show, I got the best job in the world. I get to get into all the races for free, but more importantly, I get to meet a lot of great people, and our Have a Tampa champion is certainly one of them. That's it for this week. I'm Pat Patterson. Join us again for another edition of Champions of Speed.
Promotional consideration provided by Habit Hand Cleaner. After all, clean hands are habit forming. For more information and a dealer nearest you, call 1-888-344-2848. Drivers, race teams, and race fans, the Simpson Race Products catalog features all the new products and services for 1997, plus Simpson's complete line of racer and fan gear. To get your copy, call 1-800-71-RACIN and join Team Simpson today. And by Motor Tracks Interactive, your all-access pass to the track 24 hours a day. For more information, call 1-800-335-0600.